This episode is brought to you by pastasworld.com, where you can find jigsaw puzzles, coffee and tea mugs, canvas and poster prints, iPhone cases, and more. You can even order custom items with your own pictures. Go to pastasworld.com or the Pastas World shop on Etsy to learn more.
You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
Hi, and welcome to the I Love This TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Noelle from pastasworld.com. Each season of this podcast will contain a TV show in full. This means the length of the season depends on the length of the TV show. The first season is, of course, The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls, Season 1, Episode 10, The Heart Attack. A party ends at the girls' house. The wind is really whipping as people head home. They all go on about how good the food was. Blanche brings up a guest who kept eating and talking and spraying food all over them in mist form. Blanche then tells them about a trip to Italy she took during a summer. She didn't have time to try the food during that trip. Sophia joins them in the kitchen. She's exhausted from all the cooking. Rose offered to help, but Sophia doesn't trust her cooking skills or menu. Sophia: I'm exhausted. I've been cooking for 2 days. Rose: I offered to help you, Sophia, but you said no. Sophia: You're Scandinavian. What do you know? 1,000 ways to make herring? Rose: Well, not 1,000, but a lot. And I'm famous for my Lindstrom surprise. Blanche: What in the world is that? Rose: Herring pie. No one finds the herring pie amusing. Sophia goes back in the living room to clean up more. The three discuss Sophia's energy. They then go back in the living room to do the work instead of Sophia. Sophia suddenly tells them she has a bubble. No one understands, and Rose finally explains a little bit about what a bubble is, and that it's cured by a big belch. Rose: A bubble is something that just sits there and presses until it's chased away by a you-know-what. Dorothy: No, Rose. What, a highway patrolman? Rose: Dorothy? Dorothy: What? Rose: A big belch. Dorothy: You couldn't say belch? What is it, a Viking curse? Rose: Well, it's not the nicest word in the world. Sophia: Right now, it would be the nicest sound in the world. Dorothy: Ma, you don't look so good. Sophia: I'm short and I'm old. What did you expect? Princess Di? Dorothy insists on having Dr. Harris called. Rose says the only doctor she ever liked was the vet. Sophia exclaims in pain. She's worried she's having a heart attack. Sophia: What if I'm having a heart attack? Dorothy: You're not having a heart attack. Sophia: How do you know? You're not a doctor. Dorothy: Why do you think you're having a heart attack? Sophia: I'm 80 years old, and I got Pavarotti sitting on my chest. Odds are, it's a heart attack. Blanche calls the doctor, but since he wasn't available, his office sends paramedics. Sophia starts asking about family health history. Rose and Blanche start discussing death and various aspects of it. Sophia starts to give Dorothy a to-do list if she dies. In the kitchen, Rose and Blanche continue discussing death and how the temperature in Minnesota works as a preservative. In the living room, Rose continues to worry that she is dying, and Dorothy does her best to reassure her. Rose and Blanche continue to discuss death by talking about burial, but Rose doesn't want to be cremated as she's claustrophobic. Blanche wants to be buried in Arlington Cemetery as it's full of men. In the living room, Sophia is resting. Her eyes and they're closed, but Dorothy thinks she's died. The four start sharing feelings because Sophia thinks she is dying. Sophia: Before you know it, I could be gone, and we won't have said some important stuff. I love you, Dorothy. Just remember that I love you very, very much. Dorothy. And I love you, Ma, very, very much. I couldn't love you more. Sophia. And you too, Heckle and Jekyll. Thank you for letting me live here. It was some treat. You made an old lady feel young again. Sophia chooses to rest. Rose tells Dorothy she's seen a heart attack before, that her husband died of one while they were making love. He asked her to dress him before the paramedics arrived, and they fought over what clothes she put on him. Then he told her he loved her, and he passed away. Blanche comes out and tells her that the paramedics have been delayed, and Dorothy gets more worried. Sophia could be dying. They check on Sophia again, and she starts screaming. Sophia thinks she died a little and went to heaven for a few minutes. Blanche, of course, wants to know if there are lots of men in heaven. Rose offers to get Sophia some tea, but she doesn't want any. Rose sits and keeps her company, and talks about how she thought each religion would have its own heaven. Dorothy and Blanche go to Sophia's room to find her rosary. Dorothy has a small breakdown. Dorothy. If she dies, I'll be an orphan. Can you believe it? I'm over 50 years old, and I'll still feel like an orphan. Blanche. I know. Dorothy. Oh, it doesn't matter. You lose a parent, you might as well be 6. The two discuss losing their parents and feeling like an orphan. Blanche tries to comfort her. Back in the living room, Rose is torturing Sophia with a St. Olaf story. Sophia begs her to stop, or begs for death. Dorothy and Blanche come out with the rosary. The doorbell rings, and it's not the paramedics, it's Dr. Harris. While he starts checking her, Sophia tells him about the food and offers him a plate. He checks her out and finds a sensitive spot. He then asks her to tell him everything she ate. The girls start listing everything they saw her eat. He tells her that she is most likely having a gallbladder attack from extreme overeating. He tells her she can't eat that way at her age. She can't eat that way at any age. He goes out to get his portable EKG machine to confirm that it's not a heart attack. Sophia has Rose bring out some food. He tries it and says it's good. Sophia wants more of the food. Blanche asks about the doctor's marital status when he steps out, and isn't happy to find out that he's happily married. But everyone is relieved that Sophia is not dying. Dorothy. Boy, what a relief. Sophia. You're telling me. I thought I was a goner. It's incredible. You think you're dying. You feel death enter your body. The doctor comes. He says you're fine. You're ready to swim the English Channel. Dorothy. I can't tell you how happy I am. I want you around for a long, long time. Sophia. They'll have to murder me. Though I must admit I was a little excited about seeing your father again. Dorothy and Sophia have another heart-to-heart. That night in the kitchen, the three, minus Sophia, because she's resting, have coffee in the kitchen. Rose has no idea what they're talking about. Dorothy has to point out to her that they're talking about death. She then asks if they are really prepared for death. The conversation turns to eating. If they are all going to die anyway, why worry? Just enjoy life. So they use the fact that they will all die at some point as a justification to eat the entire chocolate cake in the fridge. Blanche gets the ice cream from the freezer for good measure. Dorothy tells a story about a woman being killed by a gargoyle in Paris, and how sad that watercress was her last meal, simply because she didn't want to gain weight. They then start coming up with reasons to not enjoy the cake and ice cream, and decide to go for a walk instead. We'll be right back after a short break. Favorite quotes. Sophia. You're Scandinavian. What do you know? 1,000 ways to make herring? Dorothy. Blanche, do you know what a bubble is? Blanche. No, but I know what a bauble is. Sophia. I'm 80 years old. I've got Pavarotti sitting on my chest. Odds are it's a heart attack. Sophia. To Rose. You're starting to annoy me. You shouldn't annoy a sick person. Some facts from this episode. Blanche took a trip to Italy at some point. Rose makes herring pie. Rose named her cat Lindstrom, so its name was Lindstrom. Sophia has a bubble or very bad indigestion. Rose is claustrophobic. Sophia doesn't want family members making her death their moment. Sophia tells Dorothy that she's her favorite child. Blanche wants to be married in Arlington Cemetery because it's full of men. No surprise there. Rose's husband had a heart attack while making love to Rose and died shortly thereafter, before the paramedics were able to arrive. Dorothy will feel like an orphan even in her 50s if her mother passes. Rose tortures Sophia with her first official St. Olaf story. And Sophia thankfully did not have a heart attack. It's a gallbladder attack from extreme overeating, but she is going to be okay. This is actually my least favorite episode of the entire series. And it's because it just hits too close to home, because I've had something very similar happen with my mom and a gallbladder attack. But she wound up in the hospital for a week. She didn't recover at the speed that Sophia recovered. Most people don't recover that quickly. For most people, it usually requires surgery or, a few weeks. It's similar to pancreatitis and the fact that it's usually extremely painful, it's debilitating. You really do feel like you're having a heart attack. And it's just really, really not fun. It's not one of those conditions where it just clears up in the blink of an eye. It lasts for days and days. So it wasn't totally portrayed in the show with accuracy, but it still at least covers it, and the doctor explained what caused it. That is one of the causes, the overeating, but there's other causes as well that don't happen quite as often as the overeating. But definitely understand how Dorothy was feeling in this episode, because, I was in her shoes when this happened to my mom.
It's been great reliving this episode with you. Please check out the podcast website, anchor.fm/I love this TV show, no spaces. You'll be able to see the show notes and also support this podcast. To check out everything I'm up to and nerding about, head over to pastasworld.com. You'll also find additional content there. Thanks for listening, and stay golden.